The moment you start improving yourself, people are going to start treating you like you're intimidating. And it usually has nothing to do with how you're treating people. It happens because you changed the rules on them, and the way they used to interact with you doesn't work anymore. Your family decided who you were a long time ago. Your job has its own idea about you. Whatever circle you run in has one too. And once people make up their mind about who you are, they build their entire way of dealing with you around that. So when you change, you're wrecking everybody's setup at the same time, and the contempt and animosity start right there. Go ahead and subscribe because I'm about to explain exactly what's happening when people treat you like you're intimidating. People have expectations about which traits are supposed to go together. Beautiful is supposed to mean shallow. Smart is supposed to mean less feminine, and confident gets read as cold and unapproachable. And all of that is sitting in the back of people's minds. So when you're attractive and disciplined and articulate and steady and ambitious all at once, you're breaking a rule they didn't know they had. And that discomfort isn't always somebody thinking you're stuck up. Sometimes it's just that they can't place you anymore. And when people can't predict you, they don't get curious about it. They get cautious because now they have to pay attention and think about how to deal with you. And most people would rather get rid of that uncertainty than sit in it. And a category works as a prediction tool. If somebody knows you're insecure, they know reassurance works on you. And if you're agreeable, they know pressure will do it. And when you need approval, they know praise and validation will get you to do what they want. So the second you stop behaving the way your category says you should, they lose the ability to predict you. And that's when you start feeling intimidating to them. And people get attached to how easy you are to understand. When you become harder to read, every conversation with you takes more mental effort than it used to. So they start trying to pull you back into the older, simpler version of you. I know exactly how this works because my own family was intimidated by me, and I could tell by how they treated me. I grew up as the scapegoat. My older brother was the black sheep, and my younger sister was a golden child, which left me in that middle position. And I got that role because I was the truth teller. I questioned things, and I got punished for questioning things. And eventually, I became the emotional punching bag for everybody else in that house. The role they assigned me was to absorb their jealousy. I was a precocious child, and I was bright enough that it created a real contrast with my own mother's intelligence. And that's a crazy thing to sit with because I was a child. But in a dysfunctional household, my mother didn't have the intellectual capacity or the emotional intelligence to nurture a personality like mine. So it turned into an inferiority complex instead. I asked questions, so I came off as more competent than anybody wanted me to be. I'd inadvertently point out when their logic was flawed and their behavior didn't make any sense because they really didn't have any common sense. And I made a conscious decision at a very young age that I wanted to be lean and healthy while everybody around me was heavy set and staying that way. So I became the one they resented for it. I don't function in that role anymore. I went no contact with my family a long time ago, and there have been plenty of times where somebody tried to pull me back in. This person is sick. This person is in the hospital. And I'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear such unfortunate news, but for the sake of my mental health, I don't communicate with that person anymore." And then whoever brought me the message gets an attitude with me. The very least you could do is tell them that yourself, as if that person doesn't already know exactly why they got cut off. So then the messenger gets their ass cut off too. But I built a life for myself, and it's not perfect in every way, but it's beautiful. And I have a level of freedom that a lot of people in my family don't have. And once you build something like that, you stop being available for the position they had you in. And what I noticed is that we could be having the most lighthearted conversation, and somebody will pull up something from when I was 11 or 12. And not as a fond memory either. It gets brought up to like embarrass me or to shrink me back down. And I'm sitting there like, I'm a grown woman. Why are you talking to me like I'm still that same kid? That's exactly what I mean about people trying to reduce you back to the simpler version of you they were comfortable with. And when you step up out of the loop, they get angry because your boundaries feel like an accusation to them. In their mind, you moving forward is you pointing out that they haven't. So the contempt starts. And what really gets me is that once you're gone, they turn on each other. All that energy that used to have a place to land doesn't have anywhere to go. So the infighting starts, and it's like a snake eating its own tail. Somebody once explained it to me like this. Imagine walking into a place where dysfunction is the standard, where everybody around you operates in chaos, and that chaos is normal to them. You come in stable and clear headed, and they'll treat you like you're the problem because you don't match the environment. That's what happens when you outgrow a dynamic. You become the strange one for being well. So when you notice the contempt and the animosity coming your way for nothing except growing, pay attention to it. Some people can't reason their way to being happy for you. And for your safety, your peace, and your money, you need to get on somewhere. And that's exactly when I became intimidating to them. They had no more leverage and no more influence over how I lived, so they had nothing left to hold over me. And once you see it that way, you realize every group you're in is doing the exact same thing. Nobody's keeping you in a role because of who you are. They're keeping you there because it makes you predictable, and being predictable is what makes you easy to control. Every relationship builds its own emotional economy. People just figure out what they can trade to get something out of you: approval, attention, guilt, obligation, a joke at the right moment, criticism when they need you off balance. Everybody learns which currency works on everybody else. And then one day you build real confidence and start making your own decisions, and suddenly none of that works on you anymore. That's what they're calling intimidating. Your confidence is exactly what set them off because it took away everything they used to have on you. You stopped needing anything from them, so they lost their leverage over you. And this is exactly why your boundaries get read as arrogance. People react badly when they lose access they used to have. Before, they could reach you whenever, get an explanation for everything, and you'd rearrange your whole day for them. Now you're selective. You don't over explain and you hold the line. So they start saying you changed and that you're acting different and you got beside yourself. But your character didn't change at all. The only thing that changed is how much of you they get to have. And people mistake reduced access for increased status all the time. When somebody who used to be constantly available suddenly gets selective, nobody thinks, oh, she has boundaries now. They decide you're looking down on them. And then the testing starts because groups are always updating where everybody sits. It happens through the smallest things. It's who gets talked over versus who gets listened to, who gets included in the plans versus who finds out after they already happen, and who gets the benefit of the doubt while somebody else has to explain herself. Every joke, every little dig, every invitation, and every exclusion is a tiny negotiation over rank. So when your position changes, that testing gets more direct. It's somebody bringing up an old version of you in front of other people, or questioning a decision you already made, or seeing whether you'll drop your standards if enough pressure gets applied. And all of it is really about finding out whether your new position is real, because people don't challenge your competence itself. They challenge whether it survives being inconvenient, and a lot of women fold right there. And the word intimidating is being used on purpose because labels regulate behavior. Intimidating, stuck up, difficult, too much, bougie. Every one of those is pressure, and the message underneath all of them is the same. Go back to the version of yourself that was easier for us to deal with. So the last thing that has to change is you trying to prove you're not intimidating. Because every time you're working overtime to seem nice enough and humble enough and approachable, you're handing people the power to define you. Becoming intimidating was never the goal, but becoming self-defined is, where their label doesn't move you because you already know who you are. Because most women who get treated this way were never trying to intimidate anybody. You were just becoming harder to manipulate and harder to categorize, and you stopped bending to fit what other people needed you to be. People start acting like you're intimidating at the exact moment they lose the ability to influence you. I really want to hear from the women watching this. Have you ever noticed people treating you like you're intimidating right after you started taking better care of yourself or holding a boundary? And what did people say to try to pull you back? Let me know down below. Share this, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.